Hello there and welcome to this BryteFlow Ingest Data to Dashboard demonstration. My name is Paul Clark, I work for Bright Systems, and first up we'll have a quick rundown of what we're going to be covering today. First of all, I will give a quick introduction to BryteFlow Ingest. Then we're going to be doing a quick demo where we're going to be taking some MS SQL data and pushing it up into Amazon S3. Then we are going to move into Amazon Athena, where we're going to create an Athena table based on that S3 table. We're then going to progress into SQL Workbench 64, where we're going to query that Athena table. And then finally, we're going to create a quick dashboard based on the data. That will be the end of the presentation, and at the end there'll be contact details and a website address if you'd like to know more. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so the first question is, what exactly is BryteFlow Ingest? Well, BryteFlow Ingest is an inexpensive, codeless, near real-time mechanism for replicating your source data up into Amazon S3 or Redshift. Basically, we can source data from SAP, MS SQL, Oracle and Salesforce. The data, once it's in its destination, is a direct replica of the source. It's completely untransformed and can also contain point-in-time information such as a start and an end date, which allows you to do point-in-time analytics on your transactional data. Okay, before we start, let's just have a look at the source of our demonstration. It's basically a SQL Server Express database instance running two databases. We're interested in this first one here, Bright MS SQL. Specifically the table pools music, which is basically a table containing all of the music that I have. So if we have a look at the number of rows, we've got 19,000 or thereabouts. Here are the list of artists that I have, some good, some not so good, and here's a quick sample of all of the artists that begin with the letter I. So again, some good, some not so good. Okay, now let's switch back to the BryteFlow Ingest web console and we'll get started on pulling the data up into S3. Okay, this is the BryteFlow Ingest web console. This front page here is the dashboard. There's not a whole lot going on because nothing's running at the moment, but it shows you the current status of the ingest product. The connections tab here has a couple of things we're interested in. First of all, the source, which is our Microsoft SQL Server. That's our database name. There's the login information. The destination file system contains where the S3 data is going to end up. The data tab shows our databases from the SQL Server instance. We're interested in DBO, pools music. You can click on that. And the primary key with history is what we're interested in. And the primary key of this table is actually the full path. So I'm going to hit apply, and then I'm going to perform a full extract, and as per instruction I'm going to go to sync new tables in schedule, and that has initiated the BryteFlow Ingest process and is now in the process of pushing the files up to S3, and we'll be able to review the data in a couple of minutes. Okay, the ingest process is now finished. The initial load took, I don't know, 30 seconds, not very long at all. And now the data is up in the S3, and we can navigate there very quickly with data. That's the name of my database, that's the name of my schema, and that's the name of my table. And we can see there is the data there. Now it's zipped up in VZ2 format, so I'm just going to download it and we'll review it in Notepad. Okay, I've downloaded the zipped up file from S3 to a local store, and we can see the data is pipe delimited, where we've got the artist, the album, the track number, the track name, and then at the end we have the type 2 information. So that's the end time of the record, which is basically 22999. This is the start time, which is basically now, and V indicates the active row. Now everything is V because we've just done an initial load. Okay, Bright Ingest is still happily running away in the background. So what we're going to do is we're going to introduce some change into the system. So if we have a quick review of the data, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the word Bright Rocks at the end of every title. So if we run that statement now, That's updated all those rows, and you can see how the data has changed with the word Bright Rocks at the end of it. And the ingest product will now pick up those changes and reflect those up into S3. So let's give it a little bit of time, and then we'll go back to S3 and have a look at the data. Okay, the BryteFlow Ingest process is completed. It took less than a minute. If we go up to the music demo folder and into the data folder, database, schema, table, now we can see this folder now contains basically it's a year, month, day, hour, minute, second timestamp, which indicates the date of the last run. And we can see our data now has been replaced by a new set of data. So what I'll do is I'll download that and unzip it, and we'll review it in Notepad++ again. Okay, so I've downloaded the data from S3, I've unzipped it and reviewing it now in Notepad++, and using the example we used previously, we can see Karma Police has now been updated to Karma Police Bright Rocks. And if we go over to the far side, we can see the end time is 2999 and the start time is just a few minutes ago, and this is the active row. And we can see the inactive row is just above, where the end time is there and the start time is there, and this is indicated as an inactive row. So there's the row, and you'll notice everything on this screen is set up in pairs, where there's the old and the new, and the old and the new, and the old and the new. Okay, now we've got the data into S3, we can actually start using it if we create an Athena table on top of it. So I've got a pretty standard bit of create table text in the Athena console on Amazon Web Services, and it's all very boring, with the exception of the path of the data, which is my database name, my schema, and my table, which matches my S3 information. And we can just run that now, and it's created the table, and you see over here we've got a table and we've got listed all the columns. And what we can now do is we can just have a quick look at all that data within the Athena console itself. We can expand that up, and now we can see the data much more easily, where we have the new row and the old row, basically identical apart from the word Bright Rocks, and towards the end we can see the active row and the inactive row and the start time and the end time, which allows you to do your point in time analytics. Okay, now what we can also do is we can create a view. Sorry, we can have a look at the active rows, which is where type equals v, and that matches up with our row count in our source database, or it should do, which it does, yeah. And what we can actually do is we can create a view based just on the active data. So we can do that there. You see how the view has been created over here, and then we can review that data. And expand that out, and we can see how we have just the active information, so everything here has Bright Rocks in it. And on the right hand side we should see everything with V for active rows. Okay, pretty good, eh? Now the Athena web console can be a little bit clunky, but there's nothing to stop you using the Amazon Athena JDBC 4.1 driver and running your statements in a more sort of traditional environment. So I've got that running here. I'm just going to count the number of active, or count the number of rows from the active view. And there we go, we have 18,945 rows. Okay, from the Athena view we created earlier, located in database Paul, I'm using Paul's music active, so all the active rows, and we can see over here, these are all the active rows with the current flag of V. I've created a very quick graph showing which music I like the most, some of it credible, some of it not so credible. And then finally I've created a very quick dashboard, basically with that information in there. Basically that concludes today's presentation. Thanks very much for your attention today, and we hope to hear from you soon. Take it easy. Bye bye.